Good morning, folks. My name is Good morning. Good afternoon, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. Purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who's committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me today, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the state attorney's office is able to prove the charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit of the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this afternoon. You do have the right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. Now I need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, none but the truth? Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Ashley Nichols. Morning, young lady. What's your date of birth?
10/7/84.
Ashley, I have a charge this morning of retail theft. Also looks like you're currently on felony probation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we have a probable cause arrest for the VOP. There's probable cause for that as well. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'm going to appoint the PD. On the new theft case, I'll leave the bond at the $1,000. That'll be back in court on the 11th of January. On the VOP, of course, the bond is going to be no bond. That one's coming back on the 16th of January. Looks like they told you the 8th. The right date is the 16th. The public defender will come see you in the jail before your cases go to court, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Joseph Calandria.
Yes, sir. I was wondering if I can get RR on this.
Okay, this is Joe. This is my little show, so we're going to do it my way, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, what's your date of birth?
3/15/78.
Joe, you have a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what can you tell me?
January out of Pasco, I have a violation of injunction with no disposition. November 2017 out of Pasco, I have an assault on a law enforcement officer resisting without and trespass out of Pasco with no dispositions. In July 2017, I have a trespass out of Pasco that was ultimately dropped. Another one in 17, and then it goes back into 2009 with batteries, guilty pleas on batteries, Your Honor, and disorderly conduct, burglaries, violations of probations, and I have a robbery. Looks like a robbery with a firearm that was ultimately dropped, and he pled to a battery on that. So this potentially could be a felony.
Okay. Joe, I've got an address for you on Evergreen Court in Dade City. Is that where you live?
No, I live right now at my friend Michael Cohen's house.
Okay. What's Michael's address?
What's that?
What's his address?
I know it's on Turtle Street. I don't know I know the address in Separate Hills that I could live at. It's 4338 Stillman Street.
Okay. Well, that Turtle Street is where this incident allegedly occurred yesterday. Is that the address you think you live at?
That's the address that I was at for the last few days, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I'm a retired Mason.
Okay.
I get disability.
Okay. Okay. The answer to your question about ROR is no. You're not entitled to ROR in a domestic battery case. I have to set a monetary condition of bond. I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you're going to have no contact with Michelle Smith. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact her through any social media, you don't go where she lives, you don't go where she works, you don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond will be revoked and you'll be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants to contact. So if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision she gets to make. It's conceivable that she would go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. She might tell them she's not interested in pursuing this matter. But that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney who will be handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped, and you should not have contact. In addition, I'm going to hold you up till 4 o'clock this afternoon so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. Obviously, as long as Ms. Smith is staying at Turtle Street, you'll have to find someplace else to stay. Sounds like you've got someplace else to stay. If you need to go back to Turtle Street to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever else might be there, you can do that, but you must contact the sheriff's office first. They would meet you there with a deputy who would stand by while you collect your things and get going where you're going. I'm going to have you back in court on January 11th. It's very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Brandon Johnson. Morning, Mr. Johnson. What's your date of birth?
3/22/95.
Mr. Johnson, you have 3 charges this morning. I got battery on a pregnant female, domestic battery by strangulation, and tampering with a witness. All of those domestic in nature. Probable cause for all 3. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
A PD that I don't know.
I'll appoint the public defender. State what you need to tell me.
Karen, I have a failure to appear in November 2016, and then that looks like it stemmed from a trafficking amount of cocaine in a false name to Leo. I do have a disposition on the trafficking, so it looks like it would probably drop out of Pinellas, and then a withhold of adjudication on that. And then I also have from the same year possession with intent to sell of cocaine, possession of marijuana with no disposition.
All right. Brandon, I have an address for you on Troy Avenue in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
4 months now.
Okay. And does Miss Sandoval live there or she lives someplace else?
No, she doesn't live there.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
How long has it been since you worked?
I had like 6 or 7 months.
I'm going to set your bond at $5,000 on each count. That's a total of $15,000. Condition of that bond is that you not have any contact with Ms. Sandoval. Were you paying attention earlier when I explained what no contact means?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I'll also hold you till 4 p.m., so if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. You will be back in court on the 8th of January. If you're able to bond out, very important that you contact the public defender's office right away, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. George Stoner? Morning, George. What's your date of birth?
11/13/1969.
George, you're here on a simple assault being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Yes, sir.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Your Honor, I just have in 2009 insurance fraud that he got a PTI for, and then a battery in 91 that has no disposition.
Okay. And George, I have an address for you on Sandalwood Avenue in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
Over a year.
All right. And does Ms. Bonneberger live there as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a job these days?
Not disabled, sir.
Okay. We'll set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you not have any contact with Ms. Bonneberger. Did you hear me explain no contact a moment ago?
Excuse me, sir.
About 7 minutes ago, George, I explained in detail what no contact means. Did you hear me explain that?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Also going to hold you up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction, we know where to find you. I'm going to have you back in court on the 11th of January. As far as that address on Sandalwood is concerned, of course, you can't stay there as long as Heather's there, so you'll have to find someplace else to go. You can go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to go, but to do that, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you collect your things and get going where you're going. Be sure to call and contact the PD when you get out, okay?
Yes, I also have important medicine there that I take.
You also have what?
Important
Medicine? And whatever's there that you need, just don't go there until you've made arrangements with the sheriff's office, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Rachel Tran. Want to miss what's your date of birth?
January 4th, 1904.
Rachel, I got 2 charges today, possession of cocaine, possession of marijuana. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'll work a public defender right now, sir.
I'll appoint the public defender. State.
Sure, until I talk to my attorney, I want a public defender.
Done and done. State.
Your Honor, her name seems familiar in our system, but I don't really have a...
She is connected with a wanted subject by the name of Zachary Bowles, who did a couple of runaways over the weekend.
Maybe that's what it is then.
Yeah.
I don't have a history in front of me at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. And Rachel, I've got an address for you on Century Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
Been there since 2005, sir.
Okay. Do you have a job these
Still,
days?
I personally pay the mortgage, sir.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I work at McDonald's 5 nights a week. I do 44 hours a week.
Okay. On the cocaine, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. On the marijuana at $500. That's a total of $1,500. I'm going to have you back in court on these on the 8th of January. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yep. Jen, you got anybody else for me?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right. Thanks.